Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to my presentation. I'm happy to share a topic, a research topic which I've just started, and also a project which is close to my heart. As the title says, that I'm analyzing how to design hackathons which have the best effective impact on each cities. Here you see the image of, hackathons that I attended 2 weeks ago. It was ETH Global in London. I think it's something that we come across, like people sitting together, London Bridge. Here's another image of a hackathon which I did last year, ETH Accra hackathon in Ghana, where you see people together on the left side working over a project. Another image where people are posing in front of one of the sponsors, and below you see images of cities on the left side Accra and right side Lagos. I just want to showcase on this image the similarities as well as the differences of hackathons in various cities. The question is, should all hackathons be the same? And what I mean by the same is the same format, same communication channels, same time aspect, everything. I personally think no, and the observation comes from differences that I have observed as a hackathon participant myself, as well as organizing hackathon. For example, time perception. I've realized that in Ghana, Sundays is reserved for family or attending your community events. So if you organize anything that stops on a Sunday, for example, people will not show up. When I attend a hackathon in London, it starts on Friday evening, ends on Sunday. When, for example, here the presentation I'm doing is on Saturday. If I had the opportunity to talk on a Sunday, I think I would still take on the opportunities, because Sunday here, it's not very valued as spending time with your family or attending the church. Communication channel is huge difference. On the left side, you see a billboard. We realized that when we were advertising it on our social media, people did not really grasp whether this is fake or a scam or really happening. But the moment we uploaded a billboard in the middle of the city, that's when we caught people's attention, and they associate this event as something that is legitimate, that is happening. So the communication channel was a huge, important aspect, same as broadcasting via radio. I mean, in Switzerland here, radio, I think, is not very popular, the main source of communication, but in Ghana, radio is everything. So being aware that communication channel you choose is important, as well as collaboration style. It's highly collectivistic in the society. So we have not come across anyone who's came to hack as a solo hacker. When I go to a hackathon in Lisbon, London, Paris, I've come across many people who are just hacking solo. For them, you come to the venue, you register, play around, you just code whatever your heart desires. It also observed that it's a more individualistic society. So we cater group formation and team formation session was a very important aspect. People wanted to feel the need to have a group. When you form your group, that's when you come together. So the group aspect, collaboration aspect was very, very important. These are the 4 differences that we came across. The next aspect I want to talk about the demographics. I mean, the reason why I'm doing this study is because this demographic speaks volume. When you see that 1.4 billion of the population is based in Africa, and 75% of them are below 35 years. It's a huge population, a huge youth population compared to Switzerland, where 25% of the population is 65 years plus. So I think we're talking about, it's a complete opposite, and the median age is 19 years. I mean, I think these numbers indicate that the future of labor force, future of maybe innovation will come from this continent, because people are just the way they interact with technology, not only Ethereum, but also mobile applications, etc. It's just completely different. So you need to design events or applications which is culture sensitive, taking all these factors into consideration. why am I doing this research? One aspect was definitely for my personal interest in attending hackathons, but as well as organizing. I realized that there's a difference, and I'm a highly curious person that whenever I come across findings or aspects, I always want to figure out, is this something happened by coincidence? Is there any causality? Is there any evidence? Is there any correlation behind it? And for to answer these questions, I decided to do a scientific research to backen up my observation, to also present findings for future people to use it, how to design hackathons. I think the specific research questions I want to answer is how to design hackathons that they have the biggest effect on the African youth, as well as future stakeholders, protocols, etc., who want to participate, what kind of metrics or what kind of aspect they need to consider in order to enter the market. Because many people want to enter the African market, but many people just don't know how to enter. And providing findings of this research will help them to enter the market in the best effective way. Personal interest is one aspect, but then I ask myself, is my research even scientifically important? Does it add any value to it? I think I can answer this by yes, by the demographics. We have a huge youth contribution, population, which will contribute to the overall economic growth of African countries. Hackathons are a very appealing entry point because you don't only learn about the technology itself, but you also learn about the community, how to build a protocol. And I think the way society is run, I think the economy, the government, is not able to provide the surplus or the demand of labor force that cannot meet. Why not having different resources or different tools to cater to the need? Because, I mean, as you said, 75% is 35 years plus. The government is not able to create jobs to cater to the needs. So if you can use technology, blockchain, Ethereum, etc., to cater to the needs, I mean, that would be a huge plus for the overall economic growth. And yes, I mean, definitely the goal, that the objective of the research is to have findings on how to design culture-sensitive hackathons. As a recap, this is the objectives that I want to, the questions I want to answer, how to design, and also the next step is to explain how hackathons components from the hacker manual, the resources, event kickoff, team formation, etc. needs to be designed or differ across cultures. Because again, there's no one size fits all, even though there's an Ethereum hackathon, but the components differ vastly from Ghana to Zurich. And the reason why I'm focusing more on the West African context is because I'm originally from Ghana, so have connection to it. Ghana and Nigeria are similar because they are both English-speaking countries. So the findings that I have from Ghana can be applied to Nigerian context. I'm not going to analyze French-speaking countries because they are different, I would say, socioeconomic background, so there's no one size fits all, and I focus more on the West African context. Maybe the findings can be applied to the East African context as well, but I just want to emphasize that Africa is huge, and there's also not one size fits all for the African countries. The methodology that I'm going to apply is the first step is, I think the images is not, okay. We are going to have an online survey where we're going to send out the questionnaire to the participant. It's divided into 3 sections. First, we want to have an impact insights before the hackathon. What was the motivation in attending the hackathon? Intrinsic as well as extrinsic factors. We want to know, do they have any prior hackathon experience, online or in person? The second section contains everything about during the hackathon. How did they experience a collaboration within the team? How was the atmosphere within the venue? How were the learning material, mentors, resources, everything? The third aspect is after the hackathon. What was the outcome? meet the expectation? Were they able to form meaningful relationship that will maybe lead them to have like an internship in a Web3 protocol? Because the hackathon is not only about the tech, applying your tech skills, it's also about creating opportunity for people to come, learn, connect, and also take it from there. The second aspect we are going to do is we're going to have interviews scheduled with various participants, because online survey, it does not open up enough information to extract the nuances, and sometimes people share more information when you have an interview with them. We have questionnaires prepared where we're going to have like a semi-structure. That means we're not going to give out the questions to the participant, we just keep them as a guidelines. We ask various participants, but also the mentors, the sponsors, what was the overall impression. The third step that we're going to do is observation. Observation is mainly there because some people do not feel comfortable when they have to fill out a survey or interview, but you also can get a lot of information by observing. Just we will be in the room, we will just take field notes, observe how have we as observer experienced the whole setting from registration, the hackathon winner announcement, etc. So by having these three approaches, we will have a holistic approach of the whole event, different time, different venue, different location, that will give us the best possible outcome of gathering insight how the hackathon should be designed. The expected outcome that we expect from this event, from this research, is definitely how to design the hackathons, because we believe that it's a huge potential. It's also an entry point, and we emphasize on how it needs to be well designed. What we mean by well designed is taking all this temporal, time, cultural aspect into consideration in order to create hackathons dedicated to the need of the Ghanaian youth or the Nigerian youth. Yes, and the next step is definitely most hackathons are only based on the Western context. And by having a Western context, you also only address the Western challenges. And I think Ethereum has the slogan of infinite garden. There's no one size fits all. And if you take the African youth context into consideration, we might also come up with different solutions on how to address Ethereum challenges. The other aspect is we will definitely get the better insights on each region, technical ecosystem. What is unique there? What are the challenges? What works well? How can we design hackathons so that it caters to the regional needs? And then the scientific contribution that can be summarized in the three different aspects. It addresses the innovation theory, theory of youth empowerment in the African context, as well as designing hackathons which are accessible, inclusive, and also takes the time in consideration into the temporal aspect into consideration. I think while addressing these 3 points, we will definitely have a scientific contribution, which is important and which legitimate the research objective. I have a question to the audience. Since I've only started this research, what exactly are you most interested to get from this research? I mean, I still have time to attend your questions, so I want to know, what are you interested and why are you interested? What do you expect from the outcome? Yeah? Yes?
I think I can cut out. No, we need it for...
Okay.
Thank you. So I mostly attend events in Europe. So the thing that I like the most is about how we can build applications that are actually going to be adapted and implemented. So not just an application that lives for an hackathon, but something that will go on and that in 3 years it will become the sponsor of the hackathon. So how do you think that we can make that happen?
Sorry, I didn't hear you at all from an acoustic point of view. Sorry, can you rephrase your question?
How can we make the projects that come out of an hackathon actually be implemented and go mainstream?
So your question was, how can you implement the outcome, or
how can we make the projects,
the products?
The projects,
I don't.
The winners of the hackathon.
How can you, okay, so if I understand you correctly, how can you implement the projects which come out from a hackathon for future edition or for?
And make them go mainstream.
Okay, that's an interesting question. How should I answer it? I mean, this is something that I personally have observed. It requires a lot of education, but as well as like more mentorship. Once the project has been, I mean, this is what I've observed last year, that the project that came out are really high quality, very good, very innovative, but I think there needs to be like an accelerator program, like an apprenticeship program whatsoever, that you have like a more like a path, a step by step, how people can like build a prototype, regular check-in. I think it's a new phenomenon, but it also requires more education, more hands-on mentorship in order for it to have like, it come out like a fully fledged, like, I don't know, next African Uniswap DEX, for example. That's my personal advice, that you need more mentorship and more education, but it also requires that you need to take time to come in person, meet people there, because having good personal relationship is important. Via Zoom, it does not do justice. So maybe, does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. So a lot of the conference organizers or hackathon organizers are essentially coming from the global community, and a lot of times like coming back to their hometown, home country, basically setting up these hackathons that they experience somewhere else. It's like my story, it's your story as well. And I wonder, you know, crypto has this label of like being risky, maybe like associated with gambling, and like a lot of people basically don't consider what we do legitimate enough, and therefore it may be hard to kind of get, you know, the proper legitimacy locally. I wonder what's your experience with working with like institutions or groups that may not be within crypto, but may be super helpful to kind of bridge the gap, that could you know, make sure that the event that you're hosting or anyone is hosting is considered like legit and considered as like a local event with this global connection, rather than, you know, a bunch of outsiders trying to just sell you their stuff.
Yeah, very interesting question. I also came across these challenges, but my team and I, what we did like a campus tour. We did like Ether Crown campus. We went to various universities. These are main target audience, and also Web2 communities, and we basically like did a roadshow, explain what can people expect. We also work with local developer community, because people still have the concept that crypto is scam, and I think it's ours. It requires a lot of community work to not only like from organization aspect, organizing the hackathon, but also doing the whole educational and community work. And I think my advice is work like two-way. With local universities is the best entry point, but also establish organizations like we work like with UNICEF in Ghana. We work with local Web2 communities, also Web3 communities were already established there, because when you do this with them, people can trust because they have already worked their reputation there. So something that is new component from the outside, but also something that is well known. If you can combine these two aspects, I think then then you'll be very successful. This was, I mean, for our case, we were successful in this aspect.
Thank you. There's more questions?
Yes.
So first of all, I just want to answer your question from before, so that you get something back as well. And I understand your question was, why is it that we would be interested in this, or what do you think like the general audience here might be looking for in your research as well? Now, I come from a background where we do a lot of capacity development, capacity building, bridging between the global north and the global south, and I very, very often see exactly that problem arising, that we take mechanisms that potentially work in our world and we bring it to another world and it doesn't work. And it leads to exactly the point raised before as well, that things are being discussed that are very good that lead to nothing ultimately. Because the ecosystem is different, and yeah, I mean the long-term, the sustainability strategy of it is not there, it's not given. I also find that it very often excludes people, so I would be very interested to see from your research to what extent you might also be able to think about the limiting factors that often arise as well, in terms of even connectivity and the ability of people to join, I don't know, the gender gap and all of these other elements that typically are more an issue in the global south. And if I may also add a question from my side, I was just wondering, in terms of the scope of your study, so you're talking about hackathons and obviously looking at the dichotomy or potentially non-dichotomy between the global south and the global north. I was just wondering, to what extent can your study or your research also be extended to workshops in general? I mean, why is hackathon such a particular context? And then it feels, on top of it, maybe this is for the purpose of today as well, that it very much talks about Ethereum and obviously blockchain. Is that even a more differentiating angle to it, or would you consider your work to generally at least cover hackathons, if not generally workshops as a whole?
Interesting point. Let me start the first one. The workshops, I think the reason why I focused on hackathons was mainly because also personal interest. I attended a lot of hackathons myself. So I attended from in India, as Bengaluru, Bogota, Paris, New York, etc. But that's why I focus on the hackathons. The findings can also be applied to workshops. I'm not very sure about that aspect. I think if I don't really have enough data to my, how should I say? As far as I know, there have only been 3 hackathons organized on the African continent in Ethereum. The first one was 2019 in Cape Town. The second one was in 2022 in Nairobi. And the third one I organized last in Accra. So I think that I don't really have a lot of examples or data. And Web2 hackathons, to the best of my knowledge, there have not been any hackathons even in Web2, even though we have Google, Twitter, Roche, UNICEF, they all incorporate in Ghana, but they have not done this so far. So I just don't know why, or it's just not enough data maybe here, or initiatives, the other aspect. I'm not sure whether the findings can be applicable for workshops, to be honest. Because workshops such as a different nature, what do you mean workshops where people need to code something, or workshops where people are just mainly consuming information? How interactive is it? Because hackathon is unique. No, collaborative ones. Collaborative one. But I think when it just comes to collaborative things, I think you can, the findings can be generalized for any collaborative educational events, I would say, because the framework is the same. It's all about coming together, learn, and also collaboration occurs, whether it's 1 day or 3 days, or 2 weeks, or 2 hours. It's all about collaboration. I think from scientific aspect, you can transfer, you can generalize it, definitely. And the communication channel would also be the same, whether it's 1 day or 2 days. So in that aspect, I think, I cannot confirm, but I think you can definitely generalize. But yeah, does it answer your question? Yeah.
We're on time, so thank you so much again. Please, one more round of applause.
Okay, so, no, okay, if you want, I have my LinkedIn, if you want to, sorry? What I want to show, oops. Here? It's not working. Oh. Yeah, so this is the hackathon I'm doing next, this August, again, the 2nd edition, if anyone wants to attend. And I have my LinkedIn here, so we can stay in touch, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you for coming.